Satisfactory has seemingly countless hotkeys, keybinds, and controls, and if there's one thing I've learned from my comment section on Satisfactory news, it's that even many longtime players don't know them all. It seems like every tips video, someone's learning something new. So in this video, I'm going to go through 100 hotkeys in Satisfactory, from the painfully basic to the pretty niche. Let me know if you learned any. While you're in the game, press escape to access the main menu. If you got to this video or to Satisfactory by mistake, maybe click on exit the desktop. But if you stuck around, you can use WASD to move your character around in conjunction with the mouse to look around in different directions. The same applies to vehicles that you can drive. Use spacebar to jump. Hold shift to sprint. Press shift to sprint by toggling on hold to sprint in the settings. I really like how Satisfactory implemented this, as it doesn't reset you back to walking if you stop moving. However, there is a setting to auto-release sprint as well, if you like it that way. I just like how many options were given here, and I wanted to point it out. Hold C to crouch. Hold C to slide if you're sprinting. Press E to interact with an object in the world. This could be opening the menu on a building, picking up an item, entering a vehicle, or hand mining, for example. When using E to hand mine, you can simply press it once and you will keep mining until you interrupt it. You don't have to hold it. Hold E to continuously grab items in the world, specifically leaves and wood from the ground. You can also hold E to hand mine, but again, you don't have to hold it. Press Tab to access your inventory. When interacting with a container, click and drag on an item stack to move it between the container and your inventory. You can also hold Shift while left-clicking on an item to transfer it to the other inventory. This also works to quickly equip equipment to its default slot, or to put items into their slots when doing a hub research or space elevator tier, for example. To move all available stacks of a particular material, hold Control while dragging or clicking. Right-click on an item stack to split it in half. Hold right-click on an item stack to bring up a slider that allows you to select how exactly you want to split the stack. Press B to toggle your flashlight on and off, or toggle headlights on and off if you're in a vehicle. While on the craft bench or equipment workshop, hold spacebar to keep building multiple of the selected item. You can also just press spacebar and let it go, and you'll keep building until you press spacebar again without having to interact with the game. Press Q to bring up the build menu. Click on a buildable to enter build mode. Press E while in build mode to use the quick switch function, which cycles through different variants of the building if applicable. Hold E while in build mode to bring up the radial wheel of variants of the selected building, if applicable. Use scroll wheel to spin the buildable, so you can place it more precisely. Hold Control while aiming to align the buildable to the world grid when on open ground, or to snap to nearby buildings so they can be perfectly aligned. Left click to build the buildable anywhere in the world. Instead of clicking, press H to lock the hologram and enter nudge mode, then you can walk around and see if the buildable is in the right spot. If it's not in the right spot, use the arrow keys to nudge the building into the right spot by 1 meter increments. While nudging, you can hold Control while using the arrow keys to nudge in 0.5 meter increments. Click again to place a buildable while in nudge mode. While building with a belt, press R to toggle between normal build mode and straight mode, which will create perfect 90-degree belts. While building a pipe, press R to toggle between normal build mode and 2D, noodle, or horizontal to vertical build modes. When building certain items such as foundations, press R to toggle between normal build mode and zoop build mode. Zoop mode allows you to build up to 10 of an item in a row by left-clicking to place, dragging to drag out the items, then left-clicking again to confirm. Depending on the item, R can toggle between horizontal zoop, vertical zoop, or diagonal zoop. Before or right after placing the starting head of a conveyor lift, press R to change the flow direction, unless it's already been determined by your attachment point. After placing the starting head of a conveyor lift, use scroll wheel to spin the ending head of the lift to your desired direction. Press F to enter Dismantle Mode. While in Dismantle Mode, hold left-click to dismantle any buildable. While in Dismantle Mode, press R to cycle between Normal Dismantle Mode and Blueprint Dismantle Mode. While in Dismantle Mode, hold Control to activate Mass Dismantle Mode and select up to 50 items to dismantle at once. Dismantle with left-click as normal after you're done selecting. While in Mass Dismantle Mode, let go of Control and press it again to deselect items. While in Mass Dismantle Mode, press G to use the Dismantle filter, in which you will only select the buildable type that you are currently looking at. While in Blueprint Dismantle Mode, you can still use G to apply the Dismantle filter to blueprints. Press middle mouse button to sample a buildable and put it on the build gun. This is easier while already in Dismantle Mode because the building will be highlighted. Press Ctrl C when looking at a building or in a building's menu to copy its settings including recipe, clock speed, and power shards. Press Ctrl V on a building to paste in the settings that you copied from the other machine. This will stay on your clipboard and you can keep copying to other machines. Upgrade or downgrade a belt or building that has multiple variants by entering build mode with the desired item, look at the old buildable, and then left click to place the new one. On some buildables, like mergers and splitters, you'll need to hold Control while doing this to make sure that it replaces it rather than builds on top of it. Use the 1 through 0 number keys to select a building that has been bound to that number on your hotbar. To add a building, customizer swatch, or blueprint to your hotbar, hover over it in the build menu and press the number key you'd like to bind it to. You can overwrite an existing hotbar binding this way as well. You actually have 10 total hotbars. Hold Alt and use the scroll wheel to scroll between the different hotbars. If you'd like to bind a building to a different hotbar, scroll to that hotbar, then hover over the buildable and press the number you'd like to bind it to. Press O to bring up the codex. The codex is an in-game reference for everything you might need to know about. The inbox has a log of messages from Ada. The recipes tab shows all crafting recipes you currently have access to, including alternate recipes. While in the recipe tab of the codex, click on a recipe to expand it and see more precise details. You can also simulate different clock speeds by adjusting the numbers that are in orange. Press N to bring up the quick search. This powerful tool lets you search for any buildable and select it to build. It also lets you look up parts so you can see more information such as the recipes in the codex. It also functions as a single line calculator. While in any menu such as the build menu, move your mouse to the right side of the screen until you see a black shadow show up, then left click on it. This opens the to-do list and allows you to type notes in a private area or a public area that is visible to all players in a multiplayer game. You can do some level of formatting and you can click on the question mark to see example formatting, but I'll put it on the screen here as well. You can add buildables and milestones to your to-do list, which will show a progress bar of how many of the required materials you have. Wherever you see a plus sign next to a buildable, just left click on it to add it to the to-do list. To remove an item from the list, left click the minus button. Items will also be removed as you build them. Hold Shift to add or subtract in multiples of 10 rather than 1 at a time when adding to the to-do list. With the jetpack equipped, hold spacebar to use it and move upwards. Your velocity and burn time will depend on which fuel you're using. With the parachute equipped, press spacebar while airborne and descending in order to deploy. While gliding with the parachute, press C to disable the parachute. You can still press spacebar again to redeploy it. With the hover pack equipped, press and hold spacebar to activate it. While hovering with the hover pack, hold space to ascend. Hold C to descend with the hover pack. Double tap C to exit hover mode and start falling to the ground. If you lose power with the hover pack and start falling, hold spacebar to slow fall. Hold left click to use the zipline tool on a power line. Right click to toggle the zipline tool on or off. If it's on, it will auto attach to any power line it touches and you don't have to hold anything to use the zipline. The parachute, the hover pack, and the zipline tool all have a sprint mode which works by holding shift while using them. Press H to toggle between having an empty hand and pulling out whatever is in your hand slot in your inventory. While your hand slot is out, use scroll wheel to cycle through which item you're using. If the scroll direction doesn't feel right, you can actually change this in the settings as well. With the chainsaw equipped, hold left click to start chainsawing plant material. Press R with the chainsaw equipped to toggle between normal mode and single mode. When using the chainsaw in single mode, it will only chainsaw the single plant that you're aiming at and none of the surrounding material. With a Nobelisk detonator, rifle, or rebar gun equipped and active, hold R to bring up the radial wheel of different ammo types and switch to them. To shoot the rebar gun or rifle, press or hold left click. Press R to reload the rebar gun, rifle, or Nobelisk detonator with whatever ammo you were currently using. To throw a Nobelisk, press and hold left click, then release when you're throwing with the desired amount of power. Note the line that indicates throw power. Right click to detonate all thrown Nobelisks. They will explode in sequence rather than all at once. If you threw multiple Nobelisks and only want to detonate one, you can just hit the Nobelisk with another weapon to make it explode. Press V to scan for the last scanned resource node. Hold V to bring up the radial wheel of all scannable nodes and select the one you want to search for. Press M to bring up the map. Just make sure you've unlocked it in Tier 1 research first. Press Alt and left click to create a ping in the world. This is most useful in multiplayer, of course. This works in the game world and on the map and shows up for all players. Press Alt and right click to create a stamp in the world. Hold Alt to show nearby stamps and interact with them. Use scroll wheel to zoom in and out on the map. Hold right click and drag the map to move it around. Hold T to bring up the radial wheel of all emotes and select the one you want to use. Press Enter to bring up the chat, which allows you to use text to communicate with other players in your multiplayer game, or even with Ada herself. If a player in your multiplayer world dies, go up to them and hold E to revive them without them having to respawn in the hub. Press E to enter and exit vehicles. While in a vehicle, left click honks the horn. While in a vehicle, hold spacebar to perform a drift. When in a vehicle, press Q to bring up the record menu. This menu lets you create a path, then automate the vehicle on that path. If you're in a train, it will open the timetable menu. After creating a vehicle path, press R to save it. To load a vehicle with a saved path, press V. While in a vehicle, press F to manually dock it with a truck station or train station. Press tilde to enter the console, which is a whole other topic. Press P to enter photo mode. While in photo mode, use the scroll wheel to zoom by changing the field of view. This can allow you to see far away items or to get a better shot. In photo mode, press middle mouse button to get rid of the grid and instructions. These won't be in any photos you take regardless, but clearing the screen is useful if you want to record a cinematic video. And finally, in photo mode, use left click to take a screenshot. Okay, that was 100 different controls. If I left any keybinds or hotkeys out, feel free to share your favorites in the comments. And if you learned any new ones from this video, leave that in the comments too, because I'd love to hear about it. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips and guides, and I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be something a little different and you won't want to miss that.